What's up YouTube? Mambuna Marcus here. Time for another fish tank update video. It's been quite a while since I did my last video, and again I'm doing one of these because I never ever think about doing them until I get a lot of people asking me. So it's probably been at least, I think, about 5 or 6 months. Not a whole lot's changed, but I have done some shuffling around, and we'll start the tour off with my 20-gallon grow out. As you can see, there's a lot of baby fish in the tank, and these are all red Tiger Motaguense fry. Maybe, past the term fry, I'd just say juveniles. All around the 1.5 inch mark. All doing very, very nicely. I have to say that this batch just turned out phenomenal, and a lot of these baby fish have a lot of potential. So I've been selling off quite a few, but as you can see I still have a lot here, and it's not just the 20-gallon. I also have a whole whack of them in this 35-gallon grow out, so I'm fully stocked when it comes to RTMs. I have been selling quite a few of them, and like I said, it will be really nice to see how some of these will turn out when they hit adulthood. Other than that, the tank below, again, no light on it. Sorry for that. I have a couple tanks kind of out at the moment. This one doesn't even have a canopy or fluorescent, but a couple of the other fluorescents are missing, or how can I say, the starter burnt out on them, and I just haven't replaced them. So instead of that, we'll go to a tank that you can actually see a fish in. And here is my male red terror. I did a video just recently of me introducing him in with the female. He was in a tank downstairs that he just didn't like. He had plenty of room, but what happened was, basically, I think just because of the lack of activity going on in the room, him and the female became extremely skittish. So this is normally a fish that's very dominant and has a good personality, but basically he was just not himself, and I said, you know what, I'm going to move him upstairs to see how, that affects him. And basically once I moved him upstairs, female obviously hiding out in her fortress, but he went back to his old behavior. So obviously moving him upstairs was very good for him. Again, there's a lot of tanks here in the fish room, and I think just the activity that goes on and me constantly coming in and out of the room just gives him that extra confidence. When he was downstairs, there's not too many other tanks down there, and like I said, the activity down there is very limited. So when I kind of come into the laundry room, if a fish tank is not fully stocked, the fish tend to be a little bit skittish. But as you can see, he is just a stunning male. I'm very happy with him, and he's showing off for you guys a little bit, which is very nice. But again, the female hides out in the fortress, and in that video I mentioned how important it is to give the female a place that she can hide away. Again, she does come out, she does interact with the male, but he is quite aggressive, and I think, again, with them being newly introduced, they're still feeling each other out. I'm sure she'll get more confident and come out more on a regular, but he is a little bit of a bully. And again, nothing against the female. She acted like this even before I ever introduced him into the tank together. In the grow tank that I had her, she had this large PVC piping that she hid out in, and even though she had the whole fish tank to roam around, she just kind of liked hanging out in their PVC piping. So, that's just her character. Again, with me coming into the room, she kind of hid away. But she is usually out, but I imagine the longer that these two get to interact together, and possibly, if she gets into breeding mode, she'll be very active in the aquarium. But for now, they're doing quite well, and that's all I can do, is I can just watch them out and just make sure that she has a place to hide when the male goes into rampage mode. So this is the aquarium underneath the red terror's tank. And this is also being used as a grow out. Originally, the female red terror, I grew her out in this aquarium, and right now it's home to a couple different species of catfish. A bottom dweller like a blue redfin boetia, and I'm growing out a couple tiger wolf cichlids. Any of you guys that have asked me for an update on them, here you go. This is my big boy. well, not big yet. He's about 4.5 inches. But you can see he's got red tiger and Dovi, pattern in him. He's actually a very good representation of both those species. But I'm very happy with him. This guy is very well, I wouldn't say well behaved, but he is interactive. And he's not as shy as some of the other Parachromas can be. So I'm very thankful for that. He's about 4.5 inches now. And again, crossing him with a red tiger and a Dovi, it's inevitable that he's going to get quite large. How large? I'm not sure yet. I'm going to keep him for the long term. I'm hoping that he doesn't get any larger than 16 inches. But, if he takes more of the Dovi side of it, we all know that they can exceed 20 inches, in due time. So I'm hoping he doesn't get that big. But either way, he's showcasing very nice, color of both species. And, he's going to be a very nice show fish down the road. Here's just, a large Pictus catfish. He's got a little bit of a wart on the front of his face, but overall doing quite well. Again, a very good scavenger at picking up the leftover food left behind by the hybrid. And again, he shares the tank with a bristlenose pleco. I have 2 Synodontis nyassa in the aquarium, but again, of course, they're going to be hiding behind the sponge filters and not coming out for you. So, other than that, that's this tank. The tiger wolves will be definitely a fish to look forward to in the future. So here's the 135 gallon. Just bear with me, my camera is just shutting on and off a little more than usual. Maybe it's the humidity in this room. But either way, this is a grow out / breeder tank. No specific theme. Any fish that I purchase that I want to keep long term, or maybe grow them out until I can get them into their own aquarium, ends up here. And again, there's just a good basic mixture of everything. There's some Africans from Malawi, a few from Tanganyika, some hybrids. There's loaches in the tank. There's the Synodontis multipunctatus, a group of them. And I've mentioned a lot of these fish in the past, because a lot of these fish have lasted quite a while. I'll scroll in on these guys. These are newer fish I've had. I just haven't documented them. They're, I think, Neolamp or Lamprologus tredocephalus. I've had these guys, many times over the years, and I really like them. They're very desirable. They offer a wonderful pattern, to the tank's coloration and scape. They look very much like Frontosa when it comes to their pattern, but what's nice about them is that they won't get very large. Maybe a large specimen will get about 5 inches, but normally they fit into the the cichlid tank community quite well. They can be a little aggressive to establish themselves, but once they've found their part in the hierarchy, they kind of just maintain it. So very nice fish, a good one to pick up if you're ever out there looking. My Paratilapia are doing very well. He's the new tank boss, even though he's still scared of the tiger loaches. But as you can see, he's doing very well, and he's probably around the 5.5 inch mark. So he's spectacular. I'm very happy with him. Him and the female, they're interacting a little bit. She's up here. You can see the change in color, and you can see that her fins are a little more rounded. But I noticed that they've been a little more at each other than normal. Maybe, he's just setting himself up as tank boss with the recent demise of my large old dragon blood. And that's what I was also going to mention. You're going to notice that I have a lot of dragon blood females in here. And my intent was to use my dragon blood to breed him and keep his lineage alive. But I had a feeling that he might have been just too old. And, my feelings were correct. He was doing well all the way up until his demise, which was maybe last week. But, there were some telltale signs. He was acting pretty normal. He was eating very well, but he was continuously starting to lose weight. And when you're keeping cichlids and you've had a fish for a long time, there's certain characteristics that will indicate that the fish is getting old. Again, hard to keep the body weight up. And another indication is when the fins start to get ratty. Again, he was a dominant fish in the tank, so there was nothing picking on him. And when the fins start going ratty, it's kind of an indication. You know, we start getting gray hair as we get older, but cichlids will tend to, you know, lose some of the coloration, become a little gaunt, you know, obviously not getting the nutritional needs they need from the food, even though they still might eat like pigs. But once those frayed and split fins start coming into, you know, place, you know they're way past their prime. So it's unfortunate. I have these females, but I'll probably use them to breed or cross with, I have a really nice OB peacock downstairs, and you'll see later on in the video the guy that I'm talking about. So the females won't go to waste, you know, they'll do their job. I do have another juvenile male dragon blood. Again, he's nothing too special, so I'm not going to dedicate a whole tank to a breeding program with him. If I decide to go dragon blood route again, he'll be a really, really nice choice male. So other than that, here's the Nairii. You say it kind of like that. I used to call him Nairii, but that's wrong. I just did a breeding video with this guy in it, and you can see when he's all fired up, he just goes super, super red. Very, very happy with him. He's got about 4 females in the tank. And ever since I moved him into the 135, he's just been in his glory. So it's very nice to see some of these fish, you know, finally living up to their full potential. You know, you can grow them for a long time. And based on the tank conditions, you know, sometimes these fish just never live up to that potential you know they have in them. So when everything starts to kind of fall into place, it's really, really nice. Here's my Mara Rock hybrid. A lot of people like them, and this strain of hybrid is becoming very, very popular, and you can see why. You know, very, very attractive fish, and you know, he's got some females in the tank. He's bred on a couple occasions, but you would think, you know, based on how aggressive he is and how territorial, that he would be a breeding machine. So hopefully that happens down the road. So that's the 135. Just a little quick update below. Here's some of my fry grow out tanks. You can see the red by red juveniles that I'm raising up. They're even quite red on camera. Like I said, the male is a top-notch quality male, and the females that I'm crossing or breeding them with are also supremely orange. So if I can develop a strain that's even oranger, that'd be just awesome. And again, the fry tanks just got a little mixture of some of the Mara Rock hybrids, some OBs, some electric yellows, you know, just a lot of the standard stuff. This tank right here, you can just see this is an earlier batch of the same following fish. So other than that, let's go to the 35-gallon grow out, and you can see that this tank is jam-packed, and again it's full of RTMs. So I probably have like 200 left. I probably sold about 100. But, you know, it's going to take a little while to move all these guys out. But I'm not worried. I have a lot of room now. I've been able to move enough fish around to give myself some of that extra space that I needed for a long time. So if any of these guys, you know, grow out a little quicker than they should, that's fine. You know, they'll probably end up growing out in the 135 also. And, you know, obviously when people come in to purchase, they always want the biggest, nicest specimens. So I'll continue to obviously grow the smaller ones. So other than that, tank below is a 135. That's the tank with the fluorescent starter one on it, so I can't showcase you. It'd be really hard to see him. A male red Tiger Motaguense, and he is a secondary male, which I'm going to use to breed. Other than that, I have the 20-gallon. This is a grow aquarium. As you can see, there's really nothing in there except a fully aquatic mud skipper. And this fish has been awesome. I believe it's a variety that comes from Vietnam. I have to double check. But you talk about durability. This fish is super durable. So really cool. You know, if I ever stumbled across him again, I would definitely pick him up. But as you can see, he's enjoying the 20-gallon all to himself. And all those red spots is a red hard calcareous algae. A lot of times that will only grow when water quality is, you know, at a premium. And this tank gets a mega amount of water changes when there's, you know, a lot of fry growing out in it. So I forgot to scrape it before the update. And other than that, the last, again, is just a 15-gallon grow out with a 15-gallon grow / quarantine. No light on top of the tank, and this is the home of a very, very aggressive female wolf tiger cichlid. So it's funny, she's smaller than the male, but she will just turn that tank upside down. So she's in solitary until he's big enough to handle her, and when it's time to upgrade him, I'll probably reintroduce her. So other than that, that's the fish room. Let's go take a look at my show tank. So here's my 120 display tank. This tank sits in my living room, and as you can see, it's just a mixture of a bunch of different cichlids. Anything that's kind of grown up and has developed some nice color, I've thrown into the tank. Again, I kind of tried to go with a nice color balance beforehand, but some of the fish that if you see this red by red zebra, I had a lot of orange in the tank previously, and it's beautiful because it stands right out. But this red by red female was so aggressive that I had to remove the other females from the tank. So it's unfortunate, like I said, I tried to go with a real nice balance of color. There's a lot of color, but clearly I need a little more orange, and I was thinking maybe a few deeper blue type fish. But overall, you can see everything's growing out nicely and looking good. But what I'll probably do is I'll take that female out, because now she's taking, basically taking dominance of the aquarium. But I'll probably remove her. Maybe I'll breed her with my male. But again, I have so much, or so many of those red by red fry that maybe once they kind of hit around the 2.5 inch mark, I can take maybe 5 or 6 juveniles and throw them in the tank, and then, like I said, they'll kind of grow up into the aquarium, but they'll start at the bottom of the hierarchy, so it will be a long time before they'll actually hit adult size and maybe have a real squabble amongst each other. So that way I can kind of get that orange color back into the aquarium. But other than that, everything else, as you can see, is doing well. A lot of the usual suspects. I'll scroll in on a few of them. This is my red marble convict cichlid. Again, that's a female. I have 3 of my original females in the aquarium. See this one jumping around, and like I said, I had them in a smaller aquarium. I was trying to breed them with a couple males I had, but I kind of ran out of tank space, and I said, you know what, I wanted to go with a full African theme, but you know what, they mix in very, very well, and they're obviously doing very nicely. There's my Juliochromis, looking great. Another one of my Paratilapia males. This guy actually might have better potential than my other male. He's got a little tear in the back of his fin. He must have gotten to a spat. But this guy's doing very well now. Originally I had him growing out with a bunch of other Africans, and he was doing well, but I must have missed the tank for a couple days, and the ranking in the aquarium, itself changed, because I did find this guy almost basically beaten to death. And I was very, surprised that he was able to make a comeback. His fins were really, really tattered, other than that, splitting his tail fin right now, which will probably grow back no problem. He was a fish that was basically on the verge. So, he came back, and right now, he kind of fits into the mix really nicely. He's testing a couple of the top dogs in the tank, but, once he grows and probably gets around 6 inches, he'll probably make a stand for the top dog in the aquarium. But as you can see, he's beautiful, and I'm very happy that he made it. Just looking if there's any other fish really to mention. This guy comes out washed out on this camera, but he's almost like, he's very light, but he has like a purple hue to him, and he might be a nice candidate to cross with those dragon blood females that you've seen in that 135. Again, very, very nice potential OB male. This guy right here, my redfin borlei, kind of hard to see a little bit against the black background, but I'm very happy with how this guy is settled in. Sometimes borleis can be a little bit on the passive side, and I find that sometimes they just don't live up to the full potential if the tank is just a little too rambunctious. But this guy's fitting in very nicely, and he's kind of taken his spot and his claim to maybe mix it up with some of the bigger top dogs in the aquarium. But overall, doing very nicely. And again, it's going to be a species that will get probably 8 or 9 inches. So As he grows out, I'm sure he's going to look better. I do have some of those Tredosophilus that you've seen in my other 135 gallon tank. There's 3 of them in here, and you know, they're doing very well. They kind of go at each other. They might spat a little bit, but there's enough room in this tank and enough activity that they disperse their aggression nicely. So other than that, that's the 120, and let's go downstairs. So here's the 135 that I keep downstairs. This is a mixed community aquarium. It has a lot of cool bottom dwellers in the tank. I wanted to give the tank a good scraping and cleaning before I finish this video, but that was going to put me behind schedule, so I decided not to. I was just going to give it to you guys the way it is. The algae in the tank and the plants grow very well, but there is some direct sunlight I do get on this tank during the day, so that's probably a contributor to why it does nicely. As you can see, this Anubias right here is flowering. They tend to do that on occasion, and you know, they're thriving. They're doing very nicely. I also threw some food into the tank. Let's see if we can kind of scroll in on it. Some sinking pellets, but this what this does, it brings out some of the fish. That way I can kind of showcase them to you. This is a Royal Farlewella bouncing around on the bottom. Really cool fish. Actually very interactive with each other, and also I have found that this variety is very active too, so it's not like they go in hiding and only come out at night. They are on the search for food all day long. There's a Sturbe Cory over here, and I think there's 3 of them in the tank. And if you keep Cory cats, make sure you keep them in a group of at least 3, possibly, honestly, maybe minimum 6. You know, I should really pick up a few more Sturbes. I do have an individual laser Cory in here that I need to add, you know, a few buddies to the tank for him. But again, the Cory cats are very interactive fish, and they need to, you know, basically be with their own kind to, you know, be as happy as they can be. Here's that laser Cory. Like, you can see all the algae on the glass. That's a hard algae. Really hard to get off the glass if you don't have a good scraper. This is a Simone, Rainbow Simone goby. Very cool. He was upstairs in my 20 gallon for the longest time. Very good scavenger, and I wasn't sure how well he was going to do in the tank. I maybe underestimated him. I thought all the fish in the aquarium were a lot bigger, but I guess not. Again, these are all very small fish. I'm just scrolling in on them. That's a Negralineata loach. I think there's about 6 of those in the tank. And some very lucky feeder goldfish. You know, these guys kind of outgrew the marble goby that I was feeding them to. And they are obviously thriving and doing very nicely. So I figured I'd give them a nice home. So they have a lot of swimming space in this tank. There is a whiptail cat under this plant, but he's not coming out. And again, you know, it kind of gives you a little breakdown of some of the cool guys. There is a few fish that haven't come out yet. These are my Flavipinus type of Tanganyikan cichlid. As you can see, when they hit the light, they have some beautiful iridescence and yellow fins. They're actually doing very well, and you know what? They're a little pugnacious with each other, but they're not really hard on each other, and they honestly ignore everybody else. So someone was asking me if you could put these in a community tank, and I'd say that, you know, if the community fish that you have are, you know, on the durable side, there should really be no problem, especially if you give these guys at least a 4-foot aquarium. You know, maybe like a 55 gallon long would be, you know, it would work out quite well with them and some other fish. Autocinclus, you know, just took off. He was cleaning the Anubias. And it's too bad, because I was hoping to see if my upside down catfish would come out, but they're very nocturnal and very shy. Here's that Royal Farlewella again, doing his thing. And there's a few other hillstream loaches that must be sleeping in today, because they are not out, and usually they are pretty ravenous when it comes to picking up leftover food. So, you know what? We'll let them go today, and let's move on to the last tank of the tour. This is one of my 75 gallons in the laundry room. As you can see, I want to use this tank as an OB breeding aquarium. You know, there's that choice male that I was talking about chasing around the females. Might be a little hard to see him, but he has really amazing blue and red. He's a very high quality fish, and I'm hoping that if I can cross him with these females, I'll be able to select and grow out some really nice fry. I have a lot of these red marble female convicts in the tank. As you can see, they're all growing out, doing very well. They have a lot of color, but I threw them all in this aquarium just because there was a lot of space, so I can grow the females out to adulthood. I don't want to sell them at this size. I want to kind of see what their full potential will be. You'll see as they are starting to grow and develop the red, in the middle part of their back, you know, you can't really see what the full potential of these fish will be until they're, you know, basically fully mature. As you can see in the stomach there's a lot of red, there's a lot in the top fin, and you can see some pattern between the two. And I noticed with the ones that I've grown up upstairs, they kind of started this way also, but then they kind of filled in, and you know, you can see that they're like 3/4 red. So if I can get a bunch of 3/4 you know, red / orange marble convict females, I'll be quite happy with them. I'm going to pretty much use them for myself, you know, just as fish with a lot of color, cool personality. Up here in Canada, you know, it seems as if I can't even give these fish away, which is crazy considering how many subscribers, you know, everywhere else in the world have messaged me for them and, you know, would love to get their hands on them. So because I can't give them away for what I believe they're worth, I'll probably just hold on to them because they're really nice. And again, you're going to see some with the marbling, and then obviously some, you know, basically pure pink females. But either way, I think a tank of fully raised and mature marble convict females would look really cool. And once they get to the right size, I'll probably throw them in my display tank. So other than that, there's the 175 above it. But that tank is blank at the moment. It's just got a large Raphael catfish. I'm keeping the tank open just for the option of whatever I decide on in the future. So other than that, that's the tanks, and you know, thanks for watching.